Hola, mi gente. Welcome to our October PC Power Hour. This is always one of our favorite sessions because we get to launch our new application round coming up November 1st. We're super excited to welcome a whole new wave of Dream.Us applicants. We have a lot on the agenda, but before we jump into that, it is my pleasure to welcome our president and CEO, Gabby Pacheco, who is going to provide you some welcoming remarks.
Thank you so much, Chris. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our October Partner College Power Hour, PC Power Hour for short. And today we're going to talk about, as Chris said, one of our favorite times of the year. It's our new scholarship round. And I want to first start by giving a special welcome to our new partner colleges from Texas and Florida. It's actually been quite a while since we onboarded and celebrated so many new colleges. And we're really, truly grateful and excited to welcome you into the Dream.Us community. Now, um, this year we did a really beautiful 2025 impact report called From Dreams to Destination. And it highlights there what we've accomplished together. So I want to start by reminding us where what we have done in the last 12 years, in essence, of providing scholarships to 12,000 scholarships have been awarded. Over 4,500 graduates have graduated from your institutions of higher learning. Those students have represented over 120 countries. 82% of those scholars are first in their families to ever go to college and graduate. And the academic outcomes are just incredible. Our national scholarship has a 92% first year persistence rates. Thank you to all of you for doing that. And there is a 76% graduation rate. Our opportunity scholarships are at 97% first year persistence and 85% graduation rates. I think we're probably toe to toe with Harvard University on that one. But I want to say something. And, I say this not because I believe our students are competing against others. We don't believe in the us versus them. Our goal is very, very simple. We want to ensure that every person with the dream of higher education is able to pursue that dream. And we believe that dreamers are like no other child in the United States of America, and they too should have that opportunity. But here's what we do know. And when given the opportunity, Dream.Us scholars excel, outperforming all other college students in the United States. They are hungry for opportunity, and we know we are a stronger country when every young person's educational dream is achieved. So, we are not going to shy away from this work. Even as things get hard, we're going to keep moving forward. And this year alone, we've lost in-state tuition access in more than 3 states. In some ways, we are going backwards, but instead of stepping back, we are going to double down. And our determination to support these students is stronger than ever. So, as we prepare to launch our 13th National Scholarship Round, and I can't believe we're saying 13th National Scholarship Round, and our 11th Opportunity Scholarship Round, I just simply want to say thank you. You are not just helping our country and communities, you are changing individual lives. And while no one can capture the full impact better than our very own Dr. Hain Lee and our amazing team, as they are always doing surveys and getting and collecting all this wonderful data that shows our success, we know this. The scholarships we provide, combined with your support, are giving students a real chance to thrive, from creating lifelong friendships to opportunities to grow and to succeed. So I don't see these just as our students. I see them more as your institutional students able to be there because of the support we're giving them through the Dream.Us. I hope you embrace them. I hope that you fight for them to have a place in your classrooms and in your campuses, and that you celebrate their achievements with pride. We have the legal authority, we are razor focused, and we are inspired every single day by our students' resiliency. So we are going to pivot when needed. We are going to always push forward, and we're going to do this together. And so I just want to say thank you because we are creating opportunities, we're building futures, and I cannot wait for us to continue to see what we're going to build together. So I'll turn it over to you, Chris, and let's get started.
Thank you so much for those inspiring words, Gabby. Like you just set the tone for the entire session. Thank you so much. So let's jump right into it. As I said, we have a lot of information and work to do. So let's start sharing my screen and go right into this PowerPoint deck. Okay. So you've already heard from our fearless leader, Gabby Pacheco. We're going to go into some legal context and from President's Alliance and sharing their memo that they've disclosed on in-state scholarships, in-state tuition and scholarships for undocumented students. Our scholarship team will then talk about the application criteria and process for this year. And then we have our comms teams and our NP agency, Michael Earls, are going to be talking about messaging and promoting and media outreach for this new application round. And then I will wrap up with some important announcements for you all. And then we'll leave some time at the end for an open forum for your questions regarding anything that was discussed during the presentation or any other questions that you might have regarding the scholarship. With that being said, I will pass it off to Monica.
Thanks, Chris. And I think I've presented before, but for folks I haven't had the chance to meet, Monica Andrade, I'm the Director of State Policy and Legal Strategy at the President's Alliance. And I think Chris or someone will drop the link for the memo that I'm going to go over today. But I think the main takeaway is if you have any questions throughout, definitely feel free to drop them in the chat. But my email should be at the end, but if not, I'll drop it. And you can reach out to me for with any questions. So I'm going to go over the in-state tuition piece for a little bit before I jump into the scholarship criteria. So on April 28, 2025, President Trump issued an executive order titled Protecting American Communities from Criminal Aliens. And so that executive order had a section 5 that directed the Attorney General to identify and to take action to stop the enforcement of state laws that they, quote, favored aliens over any group of American citizens. And then it specifically invoked 8 U.S.C. 1623 to target state laws that provide in-state tuition. And that's just the federal law that allows states to be able to provide access to in-state tuition rates for undocumented students in higher ed. And so what ended up happening after the executive order was issued is that we started to see Department of Justice challenges being filed. And so following the release of that executive order, the Department of Justice filed lawsuits against states offering in-state tuition rates to eligible undocumented students in Texas and Minnesota and Kentucky and Oklahoma. I won't go through exactly how it happened in each state, but the one that I'll focus on is in Texas because of the way that it happened there. So the Texas legislative session ended on June 2nd with efforts to repeal the Texas DREAM Act failing again. It's happened in other legislative sessions and it has never succeeded. And then 2 days later, on June 4th, the DOJ then filed a lawsuit. And the state of Texas, instead of defending its own state law, they decided to permanently block the law. And so within hours, district court issued an order halting that 24-year-old policy, which had granted eligible undocumented students access to in-state tuition rates and state financial aid. And so quickly, MALDEF and others filed motions to intervene, representing students impacted by that policy decision. As of right now, the district court has denied both of those motions to intervene, and so both interveners are now at the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals with amicus briefs due in about 2 weeks, and so that litigation is ongoing. The same thing happened in Kentucky, and there the state also refused to defend its own state law. MALDEF also filed an intervention on behalf of students, and so that litigation is ongoing. Minnesota, their state is defending their law, and then recently in Illinois, this is the latest one in September. The DOJ also filed a challenge there, but that state is also defending its state law. And so right now, with the government shutdown, most of these cases and the litigation is pending until the shutdown is lifted. So some just key takeaways as you're hearing about challenges to in-state tuitions at your institutions or your states, depending where you're at. It's just a reminder that federal law sets the boundaries. It's not a complete ban. And so while that federal statute that I mentioned in the beginning restricts residency-based eligibility, so essentially what it says is if you're going to offer access to in-state tuition rates to undocumented students in higher ed, you also have to provide it to a U.S. citizen that would be out of state, for example. And so what states have done is they have based their eligibility criteria not necessarily tied to residency, but to things or criteria like high school graduation or time spent in high school graduation in the state. The federal government has taken the position that certain in-state tuition laws are preempted by federal law. And that was first expressed in that executive order, but that executive order standing alone does not and cannot invalidate any state law. And so if you hear of any institutions or you have concerns, or if you're in a state where there's some conversations about what that means for your state and nothing has happened in your state, please don't hesitate to reach out to us for support. The question about preemption is really complex and specific to the law and facts of a particular case. And so even if one federal court in a certain state finds that a state law is invalid for whatever reason, a different federal court examining a different state law may reasonably find that it falls differently or comes to a different conclusion in a different state. And so again, laws remain valid until they're overturned. And so therefore, until and unless an in-state tuition law is invalidated by a court, or it's repealed or superseded by the state legislature in a repeal or relevant administrative body, if, for example, you're in a place where it's the Board of Regents that issued the policy, it remains in effect and operative until any of those things happen. So let's turn to the next slide for scholarships. So on July 23, the Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights issued a press release announcing that it had opened a, quote, national origin discrimination investigations into 5 institutions. The press release indicated that the investigations were to determine whether these universities were granting scholarships only for deferred action for childhood arrivals, DACA, or undocumented students in violation of Title VI prohibition against national origin discrimination. And so I just want to be clear that institutions may provide scholarship programs for undocumented students, including those with DACA, if the programs are consistent with federal civil rights law. Title VI of the Civil Rights Act and Section 1981, which was also referenced, do not prohibit eligibility criteria that is based on immigration status or citizenship status, for example. Title VI prohibits discrimination based on race, color, or national origin in programs that receive federal funding. And so courts have consistently held that there's a difference, right? Citizenship or immigration status is distinct from national origin. So national origin really refers to the country where a person was born or where their ancestors come from, while citizenship is a legal status. And so for that reason, Title VI does not prohibit any distinctions based solely on citizenship or what someone's immigration status is. I do want to be clear that none of the 5 scholarships that were targeted in that OCR investigation violate Title VI or Section 1981. All 5 of them limit eligibility to DACA or to undocumented students without any reference to race, ethnicity, or national origin. There's also no evidence that the scholarships are being operated as a proxy for discrimination, which would be another reason why they might be found to be unlawful. It's not being used as a proxy to discriminate based on race or ethnicity or national origin. In the contrary, as most of you know, right, most of these scholarships really describe a desire and a commitment to meeting 100% of demonstrated financial need for admitted students and recognize that DACA and undocumented students are not eligible for federal financial aid. And so that need-based focus has neither the intent nor does it have the effect of discriminating based on national origin. And so in the link that was dropped, I think dropped in the chat, that's the resource. We outline some best practices for structuring scholarships for undocumented students, and you'll note that one of the examples that we provide as best practice is TheDream.Us. which bases its eligibility criteria centered squarely on immigration status and without any reference to any protected characteristics. So it is consistent with Title VI and Section 1981. Its criteria also does not operate as a proxy for race, ethnicity, or national origin, but instead really focuses on ensuring access for students who are excluded from federal financial aid programs. And so, as I said it in the beginning, if you have any questions related to any of these topics, and I think we can go to the next slide, don't hesitate to reach out. You can send me an email. But the main takeaways are scholarships based on immigration status are permissible. Title VI and Section 1981 do not prohibit any eligibility criteria that is tied to someone's immigration or citizenship status. Again, provided that they do not explicitly or implicitly discriminate on the basis of any of those protected characteristics. And then again, if you get questions about this, national origin and citizenship are distinct. National origin refers to a person's place of birth or ancestry, and citizenship describes someone's legal status. So I think I saw my email dropped in the chat, but if not, it's on the slide. So I'll stick around to answer any questions, but again, feel free to send me an email if you have any follow-up. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Monica. This is a great intro to sort of talking about our application criteria and the process that's to come. So I will pass it off to Jahida from our scholarship management team to go through this.
Hi everyone, I'm hoping that you're able to hear me and see me. I'm having some internet issues, so please bear with me. But I'm so excited to share with you guys that our organization is starting our 13th National Scholarship Round this year. And we are starting our 11th Opportunity Scholarship Round as well. So that's super exciting. And I'm so happy to see all of you guys here with us today. So our Opportunity Scholarship and our National Scholarship both open on November 1st. And our Opportunity Scholarship will close on January 31st, 2026. And the announcements for the awards for the Opportunity students will go out mid-March. And for our national scholarship, we will close the application on February 28th, 2026, and the award announcements will go out in late April for these students. Next slide, please, Chris. Okay, so an award overview of both of our scholarships. For our Opportunity Scholarship, our students get up to $100,000 for their tuition, their fees, and on-campus housing. They also get meals for up to 4 years to earn a bachelor's degree, which is really amazing. And our National Scholarship, we offer tuition and fees for our students of up to $16,500 for an associate degree, and they earn up to $33,000 for a bachelor's degree. Some of our scholars are able to receive up to an additional $6,000 stipend for their books, their supplies, and their transportation. Next slide, please. Okay, so this map here will highlight all of our Opportunity Scholarship states that we call locked-out states. And for these states, some of you guys have asked about Florida and Texas becoming Opportunity locked-out states, but we have actually found new partner colleges there, both in person and online, so they will remain part of our national program. So these locked out states, you can see they range up to, I think, 20 or so. And our students here have to live in and graduate or will graduate from high school from one of these 22 states. They must enroll and live on campus at one of our 5 opportunity partner colleges. Then they must start in fall 2026. A new state that we have just added this year is Oklahoma. Next slide, please. So for our national scholarship, our students must be eligible for in-state tuition at the partner college in their state that they want to attend. And this is not applicable if it is a private partner college in their state, if it's an online partner college, or if they live in Texas. They also have to intend to enroll full-time in an associate's or bachelor's degree at their partner college in their state, or they have to enroll in line for the fall 2026 or spring 2027. We do welcome any continuing college students to apply for a scholarship, so they are eligible. If they're not sure if they are eligible for the in-state tuition requirements at the partner college, we recommend that they talk with the partner college staff to determine their eligibility requirements and whether or not they meet them. This year, we are holding our website in a really safe and sacred space. So we are asking for confidentiality when it comes to accessing these, especially the list of our partner colleges. So we are asking students and any partner college staff to use a secret password. And you can go ahead and note this down if you're able to, but it is College Dream. You can access our list of all of our national partner colleges on our website using this password. Next slide, please. So the key eligibility criteria for our students is that they are a first-generation immigrant student who is currently undocumented with or without DACA or TPS, and who came to the United States before November 1st, 2020. And they have also continuously lived in the US since then. They also must have entered the US before the age of 16. And they have significant unmet financial need. If they are receiving or are eligible for the federal Pell Grant, they're not eligible for our scholarship. Next slide, please.
Yeah, Hydra, I'm going to go ahead and take over. There's a pretty significant lag from the time Chris moves the slides to you being able to see them with your internet. So I'm going to just go ahead and jump in.
Yes, that's perfect. Thank you, Elena.
You're welcome. All right, so just real quick, here's a overview of what we are asking for in the application. So under the applicant information section, some personal information. The only thing that we do not ask is their street address. We will still ask for city, state, and zip code. They'll also provide us with their immigration status under the applicant section. Once they move on to the academic information, they're going to let us know what partner college they're selecting that they want to attend. And from there, they will provide us any of their high school information. If they earned a GED, that will be provided there. If they have also already enrolled in college, they'll provide that information to us as well. For financial information, they're going to let us know how many folks are in the household, how many folks are supported by that income, how many of those are going to be in college during the 26-27 academic year, as well as their annual household income. From there, it's going to move to the responsibilities page for the national application. For the opportunity application, the responsibilities section is not included in that. But here's where they're going to let us know any community service that they've been a part of, any volunteer work that they do, as well as home responsibilities. One thing that we have seen trending over the last couple of years is a lot of folks, when they come in and apply for the application, they are leaving this section blank. We really want to make sure that if you are helping anyone, just to have them really think through, has there been any opportunities for community service that they've done, were they part of a, group on their high school campus or anything like that, where they were, going out and serving in the community, soup kitchens, different things like that. It is a part of their overall application score. And so when they do leave that section blank, it does affect their score. The home responsibilities section is also something that we've had in there for years now, because we do also understand a lot of the applicants don't necessarily have the ability to do a lot of community service and volunteer work like a lot of their peers do. And then the next slide, Chris. The only documents that they are required to upload to the application are their transcripts. It is a 2.5 GPA that's required for high school as well as college at a minimum. So if they have graduated from high school, they're going to be a college freshman or sophomore. They will be required to upload a copy of their high school transcript. If they've gone through a GED program, they'll provide us with that certification. And then if they have taken any college classes once they've graduated from high school or earned their GED, then they will provide a copy of their college transcript as well, whether it's from a community college or a four-year college. When it comes to the Opportunity Scholarship, they have to have attended high school and not graduated with a GED. The GED is only for national scholarship. Next slide. The essay has stayed the same as it's been for the last 2 years now. So it's a 750 word or less essay. We do encourage applicants to have somebody look over their essay before they submit their application, just to make sure that they receive any feedback, where they could improve in any section of that essay. But we have the essay prompt here for everyone, so I'm not going to read it. As you'll also get a copy of the slides tomorrow in the PC Weekly. So next slide, Chris. All right, so one of the things that we do definitely encourage is for both the National and Opportunity Scholarship is that applicants must also be applying to their college of choice during our application period. And if there's more details that you need about the scholarship, you can definitely visit our website. Our application guides will be updated for this round, as well as all of the information related to this year's scholarship rounds. Next slide. And then finally, on this piece of it, we are announcing our Opportunity Scholarship virtual college fairs that we'll be hosting this year. So Tuesday, December 16th, and then again, Thursday, January 15th. And then for the National Scholarship Program, we'll be hosting Q&A sessions again for applicants. And those will take place Thursday, December 18th, Thursday, January 22nd, and then Wednesday, February 25th. And from here, I'm going to shift over real quick to sharing my screen, and I'm going to show you what the website and application looks like. So let me know if you can you see the application, Chris? Perfect.
Yep.
It didn't recognize, it's not showing the screen like it would normally would. So once somebody has clicked on the link, made it through the form that basically serves as an initiation form, as long as they are answering all of those questions correctly, that they meet those criteria, then they will be dropped into the application. Once they get into the application, they can come back at any point, continue to work on it until the deadline date. So any changes they need to make at any point, even if they have already submitted, they can do so. I have already started an application, so this is what it will look like once the application has been started. Right now, you can see that it is incomplete and that there are still several steps that must be completed. The little paperclip down here lets you know how many transcripts or how many documents need to be uploaded. That number can change based on how the questions are answered on the academic section. So if they are a high school graduate, high school transcript is required. If they have had any community college credits earned, a community college transcript will be required, and same for 4 years. So there's the potential that 3 different transcripts would have to be provided. And that's what this number here is going to say. Right now, I am 0 out of 2 that have been uploaded at this point and accepted. So once they are in here, sorry, it's taking just a second to load into my application. It will drop them onto the welcome page. Again, criteria fully listed for the application right here. Deadline date is provided, and we are letting the applicants know it is their responsibility to make sure that they have a complete application status by the time of the deadline. Instructions page just has some FAQs on it if they're having trouble and troubleshooting the website itself. Once they get into the applicant page, again, here is where they're going to provide us just some general information about themselves. Scrolling down further, they'll have the immigration section as well as the financial section. All of this is self-reported, so as long, depending upon their questions, it'll just keep going through the next ones. The academics page, again, starts out, first thing it wants to know is what partner college are they looking to attend? Right now, I have it selected that I live in Florida. So it is giving this announcement here that ASU Online is a partner college for Florida, and some additional details there. I've stated that I'm going to be a college freshman, so now it wants all of my high school information. And then I've also said that I have earned credits from a community college. So now it is asking for that information. So again, depending upon how this section is answered will be what transcripts they need to provide to us. The responsibility section, again, this is the community service, volunteer work, and home responsibilities. So if they have done any of these, they'll click on the new button and then it will open up and they'll be able to fill in the table, and they can add new for every single piece of community service that they've done. Same for volunteer work. And then for home responsibilities here, it's just anything that's they spend a significant amount of time on, so 4 hours or more per week. Essay is the last piece that they have to fill out here before they get to the save and submit section. So again, they'll best to work on an offline copy of their essay, work on it there, and then once they're ready, they can copy and paste it in here after they've gotten the feedback. If for some reason they go over a 750 word limit, then the essay will cut off at word 750. So if you're working with somebody and it does look like their limit has gone over, they definitely need to go in and adjust it because we will not see the remainder of their essay. And then finally, the save submit section. Here is where they're going to go in. It gives them some additional detail about going back and checking their uploads. They're signing off on the terms and condition, which does include a FERPA release for us so that we're able to share the information back with you so that you know who is applying and who has selected your partner college. And then all they have to do from there is hit the submit button. At any point, they can save their progress and come back to it. And then the one thing that I want to point out on the home page, again, under the box that shows the application, right now it does show that it's incomplete. Once all documents have been uploaded and accepted by ISTS, this button will change to the word completed. Until then, they can click on it at any point and it will show, currently I haven't uploaded any documents, but it shows that the application is incomplete. Any documents that they have uploaded will also show further on here, and they're able to see if they're still in process, if they have been rejected, or if they have been accepted. And Chris, I will turn it back over to you.
Thank you so much for that, Elena. That's really helpful because we know that our applicants often will reach out to our partner colleges for assistance with the application process. So it's great for staff members to know what the application looks like, so they know what the students are referencing when they're asking questions and can help them walk through that process. And I think that goes into sort of the next piece of this that I want to start discussing. So we'll go back to sharing my screen. And so one of the things that we ask folks to do really is to go into that applicant report on your ISTS PC portal to monitor the applicant pool for your particular college, right? So this will allow you to really sort of see how many students have started the applications, how many have already submitted or completed the application, and really gauge your promotional needs, right? If you feel like you have a lot of folks who have started the applications but need maybe haven't gone through to completing it, you can start doing some of that outreach and seeing if they need some of assistance with that. Or if you see that your numbers are not where you want them to be at that starting point, you can sort of increase some of those promotional efforts, right? One thing that I would say for the outreach, right? Many of you know I was a scholar advisor prior to joining the team. And I used to work really closely with my admissions liaison at Hunter College. Shout out to Irina. When we would go through this application process, right? So one of the things we would do is really look at the applicant pool as we got closer to that deadline and really identified those who had started but not submitted, those who have completed their applications, and then started working on a comms plan for that, right? So roughly around 3 weeks out, we would start emailing those students who had not submitted their application yet and just touch base with them as a temperature check, right? How are you doing? Do you need help with anything? Are you having any reservations? Are there any questions that we could answer? And really sort of just let them know that they have that additional support in completing their application process. As we got closer, I would say roughly about a week away from that process, from the deadline, hopefully that incomplete list was sort of smaller and more manageable. We would actually do individual calls and let them know, hey, like we're just touching base with you. We want you to know that the application deadline is coming up. You still have not submitted your application. If you're still interested, like let us know. We can help you, assist you through that process, and answer any questions that you might have regarding submission. Just a couple of reminders as part of our MOU and working with our partner colleges, we do ask everyone to commit to having at least 10 new scholars enrolled each year, right? Each application round. And some of the assessment that we've done over the years to sort of identify what that sweet spot is for those folks to obtain at least those 10 is that you have at least roughly 50 applications started through each application round. And as that sort of filters down, that usually translates to roughly about 25 submitted and completed. And of those who may get accepted or not accepted to your partner college or may go to another college, that usually also will filter down to at least 10 who actually enroll onto your campus. So these are numbers that we want you to sort of have in mind and really sort of in place as you go through monitoring this application cycle. This is a pro tip for those of you who this may be possible for. We've heard this is some of our PCs have been able to do this in the past and have actually been able to up their numbers. They've actually done like an application completion session, right? So they invite folks to come in. Sometimes they'll like reserve a computer room where folks can go online all together and finish their applications as a group, right? Like they have staff member there who can walk them through. You've already got a walkthrough from Elena, so you'll be able to sort of already know what they're looking at and help them through that application process. So this is just a pro tip. And again, if possible, one way that you can really sort of help increase your numbers for this application round. Now we're going to sort of shift into the promotional piece. So I'll hand it over to Fermin and Michael for this piece.
Thank you, Chris. Hello, everybody. My name is Fermin Vasquez. I'm the Director of Communications for TheDream.Us, based in Los Angeles. Any Dodger fans in the house? React with a heart if you saw the epic game yesterday. But let me jump really quickly into this. We have a lot of great tools to share with everyone today. And over the next few minutes, my goal is really to empower you to have the tools that you need so you can successfully outreach to new scholars who are interested in joining our program. So let's get into it, Chris, with the next slide. All right, so the first thing that I want to talk about, it's really about our new tagline, right? Our message for this new scholarship round. And as you can see in our logo, we changed it. We added a new tagline. We've been going through a process of really refining our language and how we talk about ourselves. And so we came up with a new tagline, which is really great. I love it. It's called Talent Knows No Status. So that's the theme for this year. We really want to make sure that we talk about ensuring that our students don't feel limited, right, by their opportunities and by lacking a piece of paper that they have a community of people here that want to help them succeed. So, Chris, let's go into the updated language about how we talk about TheDream.Us and for you all to really be clear about your partnership with us and how we talk about it. So we created this really great infographic. Um, so if we can click on it, Chris. So this is a great infographic that shows you how do you talk about TheDream.Us, right? And we've been sort of talking about different ways that we talk about ourselves and about the population that we serve. So these are some key terms that hopefully you can all use in your promotional materials and how to talk about the program. But we are using first generation immigrant youth, dreamers, folks with DACA or TPS or without DACA or TPS and also undocumented, depending on the audience. Actually, Gavi, a couple of days ago, did an informal um, poll in our scholar group, Facebook group, and she asked them like, "How do you define yourself? How do you want us to talk about you?" And many of them commented saying that dreamers is the number one word that they prefer, so that we can that they prefer for them to be able to sort of relate. They relate to that word basically, and that's the number one word that they use to describe themselves. And so here's our boilerplate. You can read through it, but we really want to emphasize that we're not just a scholarship organization. We're much more than that, right? We're the leading organization supporting dreamers at the intersection of higher education, workforce development, immigration, and advocacy. And that this is really a community. So we've awarded over 12,000 scholarships, 120 from to folks for 120 different countries, 45 states, and now we have close to 4,500 graduates to date. So you are part of this family that has existed for a while, right? And who folks who have gone out to do amazing jobs and giving back to the community. So that's really the message that we want to drive home through our work and really through our mission statement. So let's go back, Chris, and I want to show you now where you can find a lot of the resources. So we created a landing page for you all that's gonna host all of our resources. If you can go to the next slide, Chris, and then click on the link. Yeah, so this website here, if there's anything that you take away from this presentation, it's making sure that you save this website here. Make sure you bookmark it, make sure you save it, email it to yourself, whatever you got to do. This is the one-stop shop for you to find all the resources to do promotion. So I wanted to just kind of start and show you what we have here. So the first set of materials that we have, if we have a two-page toolkit, that has a lot of quick information about who we are, the scholarships that we offer, right? What we just went through right now. And it has links to also some social media language and our press materials. So you can see the buttons there that take you to different places. But we also have a tailored toolkit for partner colleges also on our site. If we go back, Chris, and I'll walk folks through this for it's pretty long, but I want to point out like a few things. This is basically your Bible, your document to refer to as you're doing outreach, right? So it starts off with just some shared goals around like the scholarship, what we do, right? How we do it, and then that's sort of like the introduction. You can see there like our email that's very handy. If you ever have any questions, you can reach out to ask us at TheDream.Us, which is managed by our scholarships team. If you keep scrolling down, Chris, I wanted to point out some overarching guidelines for folks. One of the things that two things that we want to point out from this slide is that we refer to you all as partner colleges, right? And the second thing is how do you write our name? I know Gabby's very particular about it, and I want to make sure that folks are um, know that our name we don't we spell it out all together with the capitalized T, the capitalized D, and the US also capitalized. So we don't do a space in between. We don't do it all lowercase. So we want to make sure that we're all kind of like on the same page about our name. And it just creates brand awareness, right? And it creates a sense of community for folks, and they see our name everywhere. So if we can keep going down, Chris, on the page here, you can find again a link to the infographic that I just showed, and it talks a little bit more about who we are. This is kind of like our boiler uh, language that we have that you can use it for flyers or any outreach materials if you're updating your web pages. You can use some of this language that describes what we do and describes the partnership. So that should come in handy for any additional content that you're creating. Again, descriptions of our scholarships. If you're creating PowerPoint presentations, this is something that you can use, right? That has our um, descriptions of the scholarships. Let's continue on, Chris. If we keep going down, it also talks about some of the services that we provide. And I do want to stop here at the applicant outreach uh, page because these are the many different ways y'all can do outreach, right? So if you think about if the goal for many of you is to get 10 scholars enroll, well, what is that going to take, right, to get to that goal? So usually it's going to take, from what we know from past experiences, that y'all need to have 10 started, 50 started applications, sorry, 25 submitted applications to be able to get to 10 scholars enrolled. So if you do the math, right? So um, how to get 10 scholars, you need to get 50 applications started. So these are just different ideas and different ways that you can use to outreach to scholars. So the number one way, it's really to reach out to high schools and school counselors, right? And you can send them this toolkit, or you can send them our shorter toolkit, the two-page toolkit, so that they can know where to go, where to find the flyers, where to find any presentations. We have videos as well. We have a lot of different content that we're creating that's easily accessible to you all. Put the information on your website, on the list of scholarships for your campuses, right? Get the word out through the media, and Michael in a moment is gonna walk us through some of that. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to share this toolkit with you all. Make sure you save it. Chris, if we can go back to the site, I wanted to also show folks a couple of other things that we have on the website, which include um, our graphics here. There's a link there. What we've done is we created a Google Drive. So on the Google Drive, folks will be able to access all of our tools. So we have, like I mentioned, any graphics, we have banners for Facebook, for if you're printing any banners locally, we have that. Any flyers that we're posting on social media, you have access to all of those. And then also we're creating videos promoting the scholarship. So make sure that you follow us on social media, and make sure that you check out the Google Drive that is going to host all the tools that we have. So I think I'll stop there. So make sure, folks, again, check out the website. It's the one-stop shop that you need for everything related to promotion of the scholarship. I'm gonna pass it over to Michael to discuss our media work and press strategy.
Right. Thanks for me and great to be on with all of you today. My name is Michael Earls. I work at a outside communications and public affairs firm, and I've had the pleasure of working with the Dream.Us team for about 8 years now. And I always say the organization and especially the scholars and alums hold just such a special place in my firm's heart, and we love working with you all. I want to keep it brief, mindful of the fact that we want to have a Q&A portion before the end of the hour. But let's move on to the next slide, Chris, if that's okay. I'm going to walk you through very quickly kind of some of the overall external and media approaches that this year we're relying on. And for those of you that have been on previous presentations like this before, it'll look somewhat reminiscent to past years, but with a few important distinctions that I wanted to flag. First off, this is just a very top level approach of kind of how we approach external media and communications over the next few months. You can see that for one, and as for me, just did a great job walking you through, we very much believe in the power of helping to amplify materials that everyone in our concentric circles can help share, make them easy to use, easy to find, easy to share. We are going to do the national launch in just a few days, but then we very much believe from there in kind of a tailored and targeted state and local approach, as well as heavier focus in that state and local approach on Spanish language markets, Spanish language affiliates in a lot of the local markets. We also, and I'll talk about this in a second, very much obviously value the partnership with all of you, and especially with some of your media and communications teams, in the ways that can be really important validation. And to that last point on validation, you'd expect this, but just to kind of build it into our approach. Because this scholarship sometimes can seem almost too good to be true, we find that peer-to-peer marketing and validation, making the case, and we call them the scholar ambassadors, both a few that we're working with nationally, as well as in some of the state and local markets. So all of those are kind of the hallmarks of our approach for this year and beyond. Let's go to the next slide. And why, and hopefully this kind of matches with some of you you kind of have heard from scholars on your own campuses, but we found in surveys and anecdotes and feedback, this type of an approach actually it mirrors and tries to help with how folks actually hear about the scholarships in the first place. So again, the importance of hearing from family members who are oftentimes watching local news, the importance to the last point I just raised about kind of that peer-to-peer validation and getting, kind of countering the too good to be true mentality, because it can really seem like the what's the catch is sometimes the first question that some of the applicants have to ask. And then as mentioned there, we want to be flexible and tailored in trying to equip all of our partners, all of you, others, with materials and also with an approach that's going to be able to be customizable and local. So quickly, I can move through a couple of the next slides. You can see some examples from last year of a couple of the screen captures from some of our work, and moving on to the next one after that. Wanted to just spend a quick minute acknowledging, as has come up from a couple of our speakers so far, we're in a moment that is not going to be prescriptive, one size fits all. Some of you are in states where you're perhaps facing some variables where you're going to be less comfortable doing as aggressive promotion as maybe some other PCs and some other markets who will want to be a little bit more aggressive in your outreach. So we want to provide the tools and ideas so you can find the right fit for what makes sense for you in concert with the Dream.Us and all of us supporting this application round. So you can see some of the tactics and ideas that we've listed out below, some of which are in the toolkits. I wanted to flag specifically one point on there. In addition to the Spanish affiliate outreach that we're going to be doing, we also think that it's super important to kind of provide, potentially partner template press materials, press releases that can be co-branded if it's appropriate from, your partner college along with the Dream.Us. We can help you get those out. Obviously, that's helpful for spreading the word and pitching. We also think sometimes engaging directly with some of the campus publications on your campus is again, sometimes super important and we found very effective. So let's move on to the next slide. And you can see again just a couple of examples of what we're referring to. There's an example from last year, the template press release, and you'll see in the resources that Fermín shared, and on that document, or excuse me, on that URL, there's going to be an updated template release for this year, as well as an example from last year, a local coverage, and that's Miami-Dade College. And then finally, I think the last slide from our end. Wanted to just flag the notion of scholar ambassadors. Again, we're going to have a few national folks that we're going to want to be helping to do storytelling. But if you have folks on your own campuses, active students who would fit the bill, it can be everything from engaging for media interviews, as well as things just like for social media capture and how you're amplifying some of that. So would love to be in touch and figure out how our resources and teams can kind of work together to support this application round. And I think last slide, just wanted to flag in terms of point of contact, and this will all be coming around. Fermín and his email address there. I think kind of the one-stop shop for anything media comms wise. And then Fermín's kind of the captain of our media and comms team at my firm as well in terms of supporting this round. So thanks for having me today, and looking forward to working together this year.
Thank you so much for that, Michael. I know that we are quickly running out of time, and I do want to leave some minutes for questions. So I will go through these announcements really quick. The deadline tomorrow for promotional materials. If you're on this list, we have not heard from you. If you need promotional materials for this application round, we are mailing out postcards and stickers. So please make sure that we have the correct address to send that out to, so that we can send that to you and you can have that as part of your promotional for this round. The link will be again shared with you on the chat, so you can do that now, or it's also on all of the PC weeklies from the last couple of weeks. EVR submissions are due this Friday. Please, if you are also on this list, make sure that you submit those by Friday. If you can do it before Friday, because if you do it on Friday, it's just going to create a bottleneck, and it'll just be slower for us to be able to do the turnaround process and get those funds to you for scholars and for their stipends. So please try to get that in before Friday. Thank you everybody for your patience in dealing with us this year when we did our annual PC directory updates. We piloted a new Qualtrics form, which I think worked really well. If you have any feedback on that, please feel free to email me. But I want everybody to know that everyone who's already submitted, we are working on updating the website with all of your updated information in advance of the November 1st deadline, the November 1st launch, so that all of the scholars have that information for your particular partner college and know who to contact. Wanted to give a quick note on some of the immigration resources. You probably have seen these in the PC in the PC Weekly as of late, but I wanted to highlight these. These are really important. We are offering free immigration screenings for all of our current scholars with one of our trusted attorneys. Wang is amazing. These sessions are 100% private and confidential. They are purposed to help the students understand what what are the potential pathways for them to change their status. It is much more important now more than ever for them to understand that, to know that, and be able to understand if they have a pathway that they can take advantage of. This will not affect their scholarship in any which way or form. And all they need to do to start the process is complete the initial screening request form, which is also linked here. On Thursday, our own Gabby Pacheco will be also speaking again at our immigration Q&A. We'll be talking about family preparedness and planning for folks to really get a plan in place in case there is a family or a guardian that is deported or detained, and that families are really prepared for those really emergency situations. We will have a Spanish translator available, so we are welcoming parents and partner colleges to attend this session for this information. And then finally, our other colleague, Nicole Wesley, has put together an amazing career event, a meet and mingle, Ask the Entrepreneurs, where we have our scholars, their peers, their alumni, who have had much success in starting their own businesses from different industries, from tech, education, food, finance, for them to be able to connect with our current scholars and alum who are also interested in going into this path. We will have a breakout room so that they will be able to speak specifically with the person that they are interested on the panel. And we know that it's super important for our scholars and them to be able to look at folks who have gone through the similar path, who have that similar background and those similar challenges and have come out the other way successfully, to be able to mimic and model what they've done, right? It's super important for them to sort of like, if you can see it, you can be it, right? So this is one of those opportunities to allow them to do so. This is open to all of your undocumented students. They don't necessarily need to be a Dream.Us scholar or alum, so feel free to share the registration link as well. And with that, I know that we are at time, so thank you so much again for joining us for this session. We wish you all strong application rounds this year. We want to see tons of students' applications coming in. Feel free to reach out to the comms team if you need any assistance with that process. I will hang out for a little bit if anyone does have a question that they really want to sort of discuss, but we will close out the session now for everyone else. So again, thank you all for your partnership, for your support. We are here for you as you are here for our scholars, and we, as Gabby mentioned, we are in this work together.